So Ciaran Ciaran Brady. So where do I start? First of all, thank you for coming on the show. I know you said you got training at what less than what half an hour.
Yeah.
So thank you. I want to get you on here before a fight, and actually I was supposed to be interviewing your opponent. What's his name? Is it Paul Patrick Symes? Yeah,
Yeah.
Patrick Symes. I was supposed to be interviewing him, and well, I think one thing happened. I think the schedule more or less fell through. So yeah, but hey, it happens. It happens. But welcome to the show, and thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
very
on.
much. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
So I came across your the promotional poster for your fight against Paddy this well not this Saturday but or tomorrow but next Saturday March the 12th, isn't it?
Sunday 13th.
Oh, Sunday. Okay.
Yeah. One more just Sunday 13th.
So I always like to ask my guests, especially those in mixed martial arts and beyond that combat sports, what got you, as in what, I asked them about their background, the sort of life they came from, sort of family they hail from, just to get a good idea and sense of what really got them, what sparked their interest in martial arts and beyond that combat sports.
Well, my great granddad was a professional boxer. His dad was a professional boxer, and my granddad was a high level amateur boxer, and he was a boxing coach in my local community for a long time, and he passed away 4 years ago. I be honest with you, before he passed away, I didn't do a lot of boxing or anything. I was quite when I was younger, I was lazy and spoilt. I never really had to push for anything.
Sure.
But once when Granda died 4 years ago, I decided that I would give the boxing a go. I would try it out.
Mhm.
And obviously, I started the boxing then on a Tuesday night at a mixed martial arts club in Ura in Lurgan.
Sure.
And then from there, it just got, as I'm sure most people say, once you get the bug, that's it. You're drawn into it then.
No, absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I'm not a professional athlete like yourself, and I've never really. Sorry.
Neither am I yet, not professional yet,
No,
but
but
hopefully soon.
you're not
Yeah.
yet exactly. But I mean, in the height of the pandemic, at least when the pandemic started over here in the UK, the gyms were shut, and I was really, really eager to get back into exercise. When I was doing some exercising at home, going for long walks, skipping in the park, but I felt it wasn't enough as what it normally is when the gyms are open and you're training in the gym as I normally am. And I thought, okay, I do know someone who does the kickboxing classes with the pads and the mitts and the with the gloves. So I thought, let me try that. And after the first two lessons, especially the first lesson, yeah, I got that bug that this feels it's good exercise, it's very therapeutic. If you had a bad day, you dealt with a lot of very unattractive, very annoying people, and you've been in a
Yeah,
lot of annoying situations on that day. It's a really good way of letting go and offloading that stress. And
absolutely.
from then on, I just don't know. This feels good. I like it. I'm gonna start following the sport, and it's it's good.
Exactly. Even in terms of, like, as you're saying, with like I use it in so many different ways. Some nights I can go to training and I can be in a mood where I've maybe spilled up some anger throughout the day and you need to relieve some stress. And obviously hitting pads, cracking the bag, that's all very easy to do, and it's a great way to relieve stress. But I find even some nights too that I go into training and I'm already in good form, but there'll be good music on and I'll be dancing, I'll be having the crack, I'll be just moving in general with MMA. You've so many it's never stagnant, it's never boring. Some nights you can go in and you'll be like, oh, I'm going to have pads again. Like, no, you could be doing something totally different movement, a totally different skill set, and
Mhm.
it's never ending for me so far from started. It's been brilliant, like, and so it's been very rewarding.
Um, Getting into the sport. I mean, you say you really only started getting involved and taking a keen interest. You said only 4 years ago, which was kind of started by the unfortunate passing of your grandfather.
Yeah. I done
I've,
my granda passed away when Granda passed away, I had started by doing just a boxing class every Tuesday night. I was still pretty heavily involved in my local GAA team. I was in part of that team, and I never GAA was my life. And then it got this. I remember about 6 months in, I can remember one Tuesday night I was used to go to the boxing class and then come back out home and go to Gaelic training after boxing. And I can remember one night then the timetable changed, that my Gaelic training was running at the same time as the boxing class.
Right.
And
Okay.
it was for about 6 or 8 months I was only doing the one boxing class a week. And then I can remember I was going to miss that boxing class, and I was like, God, it was a bit of a dilemma for me. I was like, do I want to miss my Gaelic training, or do I want to miss the boxing? But at that stage, there was no real talk of me. I hadn't considered myself that I was going to fight at all. And then the MMA, once I started training, I started then going maybe on a Tuesday and a Wednesday night. And a Wednesday night was wrestling. And that's whenever things really changed for me. I was like, my God, oh, it's fine being able to punch somebody. What happens if somebody then grabs your legs and tries to take you down? It's a totally different story. And that then drew me in even more. And the more things that people were catching me with, or taking me down with, or choking me with, the more I was like, hey, how did he do that? I want to know how to do that. And it's just so every day you can go in and learn something new. And I didn't. That's another thing I'll say too, is I didn't enjoy school so much. I didn't enjoy learning, and to then turn it around now that I'm doing something now that I love learning. I just couldn't really believe it. I was like, oh wow, like gosh, you don't have to. Just because you don't enjoy learning in school doesn't mean that you're not going to enjoy learning something else. But you can use the same principles in it. Like school is a good example for getting you set in life. But if you could be learning about something that you were really interested in from very early on, like MMA, you can make a really good career out of it.
Of course. No, definitely. Um, so I mean, at school, I mean, now that you're well on your way to becoming a professional athlete, I mean, you say that you didn't like learning, but subjects such as, let's say, PE, which is what we use for the physical
Yeah,
education sports in Ireland, is that what you call it over there as well?
yeah, loved it. Yeah, that was maybe one of the only things that I
Ah,
enjoyed
okay,
doing.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that was.
yeah.
Yeah, I had no issues going to PE class at all. But unfortunately, if school wasn't PE, 8 hours a day, it was a lot more of the stuff that I didn't enjoy.
Mhm. So back to your I mean, one, I say, but 4 years, since your grandfather had passed away, that's not long ago. I mean, um, getting into quite a really physically demanding, and and yes, oh man, quite a brutal sport. I mean, your family, they don't have any concerns, and as in they never stopped you. They never tried to stop you from getting into the sport, and they never tried to stop you from competing professionally.
Not at all. Not one bit. If anything, they've all supported it a lot. I always put it to them this way. My granny at the start, she would have been. Um, my grandpa died of dementia, which I have my own doubts that and my own thoughts about that being. He might have been like he would have taken an awful lot of punches over his career being a boxer. And they say sometimes dementia can be led on by that. And I didn't want to go down that path. That's why I stepped over to MMA, and then I was able to use the excuse of, oh look, I'm not getting punched every night at all. I'm wrestling, I'm doing BJJ. So that was an easy step aside. Then for that to cover that problem. If Granny did have an issue, then it was just like, look, I don't get punched nowhere near as much as Granda would have. Don't worry, I'll be fine. And now she's completely supports it as well. Then. But
Mm.
my wife and my mother and my other friends and family supported 100%. Like, if it wasn't for them, I maybe not wouldn't still be doing it, because it takes a lot of time and effort. And without them and allowing doing things for me to allow me to get to my training and stuff, then I would struggle.
No, that wasn't. I was in. I hope I didn't come across as trying to put you off. It's just that even when I started the classes, which yeah, during the pandemic, during the lockdown, when I went just for merely hitting some pads and just merely training and not actually to fight another athlete or not someone else who wants to train.
Yeah.
My mom did say to me, "No, look, I do not want you getting involved in that sport, even though I was merely going just hitting some pads." You
Yeah.
know, so I
Yeah.
was thinking when guys like yourself who are kind of like just their careers taking off, but you're still in the very early stages, still in the very early days, you know, certain figures in the family or very close friends to you, you know, I was kind of thinking, would they be having the same concerns, which is why I brought that up.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe they don't like me enough. Maybe they want me to get hurt. That could be the issue, got it?
Hopefully not. Um, but in preparation for your upcoming fight, how's that going? As in, what sort of training are you doing? How's your diet looking like? Your overall schedule, sleep patterns, you know, things like that.
Everything's going really well. I sort of started off with like an 8-week camp. The first 3 weeks was just building a base fitness again, you know, or keeping things ticking over, doing a lot of just stuff that I wanted to learn more. The first 3 weeks, you know, things that I wanted to add to my game.
Mhm.
Then the second 3 weeks of the 8 week is more of a push, you know, more of a try and get some fight specific fitness. And then now we're down to the last week, which is really more or less is an easy week. This is just like a weight cutting week, you know. You look forward to this week, apart from the water load. All the hard work's done now. You're not really going to get much fitter between now and the fight. So it's just about this week's just about maintaining your weight, keeping your weight down, and keeping your body right, getting ready for Sunday. It's been a good camp. Yeah, I've had no real issues, no few wee niggly injuries here and there, but that's to be expected with the sport. You know, you've got bangs and bumps so often. Uh, you do have to expect that obviously, but it's been fine. Everything's been good. My weight's fine. When I started MMA, I was 86 kilos, and I'm fighting now at bantamweight at 61. So the first maybe don't get me wrong, the first year of I was going to say the first year was hard, but actually when I think about it, I didn't really even notice it being that hard at the time because I was enjoying my training so much. I was going in there at nights and for an hour and sweating until I could have been losing a kilo a night, you know, in sweat alone. And I was coming home and weighing myself on the scales and being like, wow, that's brilliant, you know, that works. That's great. But from I've got down, I only had my first fight. I had 4 fights in nearly a year there, you know. First 4 amateur fights were all within a year. So from I got down in weight and close. I have never really bounced back up, so my weight's never been an issue. I've just been sitting. I can walk about about 66 kilos, which is only 4 kilos off bantamweight, so it's no real issue. Like it's all good. Once you get that part out of the way, it's enjoyable. Then you know it's all good.
You've never cut weight so much because I've seen this happen to athletes and both women and men. They've cut weight. I think this is close to the more lighter weight division. I think heavyweight you can because you still got plenty of all
Yeah,
that fat on you, all that extra calories to keep you going.
yep,
But those who are the more extreme and the lighter weight, I've seen at weigh-ins, especially for the UFC, some guys will step on the scale and actually just there and then they faint and collapse.
yeah, yeah.
Because you're not too far off from that class. I mean, that's never happened to you before, having to keep that weight, you know.
No, no, I've never been that. I've never been that bad at all. I would be quite. I would put a lot of that. I run 5 kilometers a day every day. I have 3 big Siberian Huskies that need exercise every day, so I use that to my advantage. You know, I run every day, so it keeps your weight down well. Whereas some people maybe don't bother with the run every day, and then the week before the fight go, oh no, I've got 8 or 9 kilos to cut here, and then that's whenever you start seeing the problems like that. You know, people looking depleted. But hopefully the sport's going in a direction now. I think that they're going to start trying to cut that out. You know, everyone will be. I've heard even at the likes of Clan Wars here that I'm fighting on my first day, first time I fought for them. I had a good chat with the Kevin Kennedy, the guy that sort of helps run it, and he was saying that they're going to maybe switch over to hydration tests instead of weight cuts, sort of as such. So everyone, like, say if you're walking about at 66, you just fight at 66 instead of cutting down to 61 to go back up to 66. You know,
Mm.
because it's kind of pointless for everybody, but it's just the way the game is at the minute. That's everybody's doing it, but eventually that will be. I think one FC they do it that way. They have hydration tests, so they don't cut weight. They have all their guys are all fighting at the weight they walk about at.
Well, it's a lot healthier at least. because cutting all that weight, I mean, it may look healthy on the outside, but I'm sure you're doing some damage to your internal organs
Without a
somewhat.
shadow of a doubt. My first actual, my novice fight, I had a novice fight before obviously I started taking my amateur fights, and um, I made a big mistake in that novice fight. I went to this, my wee brother was boxing on the Saturday night as well. I was fighting on the Sunday, and he had to cut 2 kilos. So I sat in the sauna with him for 2 hours on a Friday night, and then I went to the sauna again on Saturday morning before my novice fight, and I was that's a weird thing. I was loose. I was sitting like this before the fight, and I could hit myself like that a wee bit, and I could actually feel my brain rattling a wee bit because I was so dehydrated that
You're lying.
I was,
You're
no, I'm honest. I'm being honest. I got concussed after that fight. I had a concussion for a month after that fight, and I got punched once the whole fight. And I was just, so you imagine obviously you have cushion around your brain being water, the water brain like
yeah.
flooded. My head, I could see, I'll maybe send you some pictures after. I don't really even look at like myself. My head sort of like caved in and all a wee bit, I had dehydrated myself too much. But I went in for that fight 4 kilos under the weight I was supposed to fight at. But I was just so worried about making weight that I thought I needed to cut off. I thought I needed to look like them guys did,
Yeah.
in the videos and stuff. And to be fair now, it was the reason that happened was because it was the same day weigh-in for the novice fight. I never got a real proper chance to rehydrate. But
Mhm.
from the start of fighting amateur, I never make that mistake again because that was one of the worst months I've had. It nearly turned me off fighting because I had such a bad headache for a month. But it was it was my own fault totally. I just drained myself in a sauna for too much the 2 days before, and then whenever it came to the Sunday to fight. But I can remember standing, another guy from my team was fighting. I was standing up against the wall, waiting to get in, waiting for my fight to come round. And I can remember going like that, and I went like a real strange like shake in my head. And I goes, "Why is that? Why does that feel like that?" And I was going to go over and tell my friends. I was going to say, "Here, my head feels funny here," and then it says, "Ah, look, it's too close to the fight now. Don't worry about it." But fought anyway. I won the fight, but I got hit one left hand. I can remember the shot, and I was concussed for a month after. I couldn't train. That was the only time in the last 3 years where I've had to take time off.
Mm.
I couldn't even bend down
Mm.
to tie my shoelaces. It got that bad. But that's why now I know that I'll never do that to myself again, ever.
Yeah.
I know that keep closer to weight. Don't have cut too much weight because it's only water you're putting out of yourself. It's only water that water protects you a lot. It protects your brain anyway. And if you don't
Mm.
have that in there, it's just like an empty shell. Your brain's just rattling about, like almost in a car with no
Mm.
seats. It's just floating about in this big space. Is the way I looked at it. Like,
My gosh. I mean, yeah, because the brain, it shouldn't, because it's such a sensitive organ, it shouldn't move at all. Um,
yeah,
uh, 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 wow.
yeah,
Um, that's, no, well, it's good to know that despite what happened with the weight cut, then that not everything's looking well and looking good for next weekend Sunday. It's good to see everything is on the up. Um,
yeah.
I looked at your fight record. You have 4 wins, no losses, no draws. Now, why
Yep.
haven't I heard of you? Because that's a pretty good record, even though it's like the early stage. That's still pretty good.
Because I'm nice and quiet. Nice and quiet.
Please, please don't tell me you
And
don't like the limelight.
not that I don't like it. I know that I have a goal, and to get to that goal, I want to have at least 10 amateur fights. I'm at the stage now where my record speaks for itself. I'm going to be able to fight all the best in the country at the minute. I don't need to start calling saying, "Hey, fuck you down the road, fuck you, fuck you." I don't need to do it. I have a record there that I'm sort of already proved myself that I'm one of the best bantamweights in the country. So I'm going to be fighting against the other best bantamweights in the country, and before I know it, my results will talk for themselves. I don't need to. Uh, I don't like. I'm not that. I don't like doing these things. It's just they're added pressure, and I'm just happy. I'm happiest when I'm training. Happiest when I'm working hard and fighting. But Obviously I didn't have even my Instagram and stuff. I never really bothered putting my stuff up and all. But now that things are pushing on and going forward, I'll have to improve on that. That's another part of the game you just have to get better at. It's just like fighting. To get recognized and stuff, you need to be better at promoting yourself, and that's something that I'll need to do.
So you don't want to be. I was gonna say you don't want to be the next Conor McGregor. You want to be almost like someone,
Well,
let's say GSP. You want to have the success
yeah,
without the attention.
exactly. Then I'll be happy. See, my goal is to become a professional fighter. Whether, as I'm saying, whether I end up being as big as McGregor, that would be happy enough. But as long as I'm a professional fighter, like GSP, nice and quiet, simple, as long as I'm getting money to pay for my mortgage and do something that I'm enjoying every day, I'm happy.
No, no,
That would be me.
that's good. That's good. It shows that you're in this profession career for the right reasons because it's something you love. You want to be good at. You want to be successful at it, not to be famous. Which these days, with the social media, you have people of all ages who just want the attention, just merely to be famous, to be on TV, and not for
Oh,
anything else. Yeah.
without the shadow of a doubt, you'll have guys that just want to get a fight poster to put up on Instagram. Probably have no intentions of even fighting sometimes. They just want to get in a fight poster, and want the attention. Oh, you're a fighter. You can do that if you want, but you'll get caught out eventually. You have
Yes.
to be
Yes. Of
putting in the
course.
work.
Yeah.
You get caught out eventually. I'm happy enough here, just working away every day and going about my business. And if people want to have a wee look at my record and see what's going on, they can.
Now, I did say that I was supposed to interview your opponent yesterday, but it didn't happen. What do you make of him?
I know absolutely nothing about him. Absolutely nothing. He was a replacement. I was supposed to fight Alvis Luco, who is the Cage Legacy Bantamweight champion. I've actually been scheduled to fight Alvis Luco twice. I did look at Patrick's topology, and I seen that his last fight was against the guy that I fought last in Rory McCarthy, who
Right.
was my toughest fight to date. So
So,
obviously he can fight. Then that's a given because Rory was a good fighter, and but that was in 2018, and I fought Rory in 2021. So there's a lot of time for development for both Rory and himself. So it was a good fight. Like he had his first 4 fights before I even started training. You know,
mhm.
so I'm hoping he's going to be a step up for me.
Well, his record isn't as, let's say, was not as in it's not as impressive as yours. Let me put it that way.
Yep. No, that's true. But he's been out of the cage too for a while.
Mm.
You just hope he's been active over the last from 2018 is a long time from your last fight, and I've had 4 from then. So I just hope he's been active and been training. And I hope the lockdown didn't stop him because I found that even there's guys that have started this sport a long time before me, but aren't consistent, and they've stayed here and I've went past them because I'm consistent. So
Yes, yeah.
that's just as long as he's been training, then I'll be happy. It should be a good fight. There's no easy fights in MMA. It doesn't matter. There's no such thing as an easy fight. I'm yet to even get close to anything easy.
You
And
say that, but I've heard I've heard for some of the big names in MMA, and I'm in the UFC, and I was shocked when I heard this. Some have said that this person, okay, it was Khabib, who had his last fight sometime towards the end, or was it 2019? Against not 2020 against Justin Gaethje. It was October 2020. One of some a guy that I know that I train with sometimes the kickboxing. He said that he believes or so that Khabib's record was padded, that he was given easy fighters for most, if not all, of his professional career, most of his professional mixed martial arts career. Now, for me, looking from the outside, because I still consider myself someone who still has a lot to learn about this sport, I would never have thought that at all, that those fights were not padded or made easy at all.
I don't think that, or maybe a padded record as such, but at the end of the day, the guy that's agreeing to fight you he should be expecting you to put in 100%. And if he hasn't put in 100%, then just say, for example, both guys did put in 100%. The guys that were fighting Khabib, which I have no doubt that they had good training camps and meaningful training camps, they just weren't as good as him. You know, it's sometimes that can happen, obviously, but he maybe made it look easy. You know, whereas I doubt any of them guys were not great fighters. You know, I'd say the most of them were probably really able to handle themselves and just happened to be the Khabib. Like, you see what he done to all the top level guys anyway. There was no real difference between what he was doing to the top level guys and the guys that came before that. You know, it was all, he steamrolled them all more or less, you know.
Yes. His record's what, 30-0, or was it 29-0?
29-0.
My God.
I think that would more show to me the fact that he had his game plan absolutely mastered. He had his side of things mastered. Other guys just had to catch up with him. You know, that if they were as consistent as what he was, they would be able to do that to him. But they obviously just hadn't been as consistent as what he was. No.
So you said that you love this sport, you love what you do, and that you don't want to do this for the fame or the money. You want to do this because you love it and you want to be successful at it. And of course, I'm sure you want to leave a legacy, at least for your son. As when he gets older, be looking back at all the things that his father has done, all the things that his father has achieved. I do ask fighters this, and sometimes their answers do surprise me. Does surprise me. You're in Clan Wars, you're fighting Clan Wars now. Say in the next 5 or 10 years, do you see yourself fighting for the bigger international brands, such as, yes, the UFC, Bellator, One Championship, or PFL, or Cage Warriors? Or do you see yourself fighting for the UFC, or you're not so concerned about the UFC? You prefer going to an organization that will treat you well and pay you your worth?
Exactly. I would be happy with that. I would be happy with like my end goal after I finished fighting is I want to be a coach. I want to teach the younger generations how to control themselves, how to control their emotions, how to, like, my granddad was, when he was coaching boxing, it wasn't in a great area in town in Lurgan, a place called Quilty, and it would have had a lot of bad stuff going on around, the troubles and stuff. You know, there would have been a lot of, like, burning out cars and ratting with the police and getting on. But Granda took a lot of them kids off the streets, and a lot of them kids, even at Granda's wake, I was talking to a few adults now. Obviously, they're adults, but they were saying they would never have seen outside of Lurgan, outside of their hometown, had it not have been for my Granda taking them over to the likes of England and Germany, you know, for boxing fights and stuff. I want to be able to do that same thing. I want to be able to give people something else that they feel like they can't have, whenever really all it takes is a bit of effort and you can get really almost whatever you want, you know.
So if you could tell me, as in, I mean, which of those big names would you prefer going to? And if you go on.
Yeah, if the Clan Wars would probably be one of the biggest promotions in Northern Ireland. I think it is. I would say for now, there's a lot more promotions coming up and coming. I would go to any promotion that is paying me. Cage Warriors, for example, it's close, it's handy, just over the pond, you know, and a brilliant promotion. A lot of great Irish fighters in it now. So I would have absolutely no effect or no problem going to the likes of that whatsoever. I'll start like I have now. Start at the bottom, and I'll just keep working until I get to as high as I can get, and then I'll be happy. You know.
No, that's good. You're true to your words. You know why you want to do this. And that's good. That's really good. Yeah. Well, look, I think, wow, it's only about what, 15 minutes to train. But look, thank you so much for coming onto the show, and definitely will getting you back on here again if you've got the time. But guys, if you did enjoy that, please do leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. I will leave Ciaran's social media information and links in the description section below. Thank you so much, Ciaran. Thank you. And good luck.
Yes, thank you.
Take care.